All right. So yesterday we finished another part of that sutta. The sutta is 167 on reproving. So we continue from there. And let me see. I think we stop here. So those who actually have the book is at page 782. So this is still book 5 of Anguttara Nikaya, Sutta 167, reproving. Friends, a person who is reproved should be established in two things. Yeah. So up to this point, previously was talking about the two person, one who is the reprover, A reprove B, and then the different circumstances where each of them would be remorseful or not. Yeah. So now, talking about the person who is reproved, friends, a person who is reproved should be established in two things, in truth and non-anger. So this is where it gets interesting. If others should reprove me, whether at a proper or at an improper time, okay, so this is the first thing about time, proper, improper, whether about what is true or about what is false. So maybe the claim, the accusation, the person tell you off, maybe it's something that is truthful. That means you really you are blameworthy, or maybe the person misunderstood something, okay, or say something that's false, whether gently or harshly. So maybe the person say it very nicely, the tone is very nice, or the person scold you, shout at you, okay. So whether in a beneficial or in a harmful way, maybe the person say it really, in a way that can benefit you, really wanting to benefit you, or the person is just out to pick on you. So whether with a mind of loving kindness or while harboring hatred. So maybe really out of kindness, or actually out of hatred, and is not happy with you. That's why I tell you off. Then what is the end result? This is the interesting part. The person being reproved should have this in mind. I should still be established in two things, in truth and non-anger. If I know there is such a quality in me, I tell him it exists. This quality is found in me. That means if the person tell you something, you should examine, is it true? Is this, if the person say that you are late, and you consider, am I really late? Yes, I'm late. So then we should basically say, yes, it exists. This quality is found in me. Of course, maybe not in these exact words. In real life, if you say exactly what the Sutta says, sometimes people will look at you like, huh? Yeah. So if I know there is no such quality in me, I tell him it doesn't exist. This quality isn't found in me. If it's not true, then just state that it's not true. That's all. No need to respond in anger. Basically just to reply factually. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. So then the next part of the sutta, then the Buddha actually talked to Venerable Sariputta. The Blessed One said, so this is in square bracket, so this is added by Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi for clarity, because before that there was no reference to the Buddha. So here the Blessed One said, Sariputta, even when you are speaking to them in such a way, some foolish men here do not respectfully accept what you say. So remember, I oftentimes highlight that the Buddha would use terms like foolish men, Yeah. So when you thought that, that people sometimes don't speak to you nicely, Buddha will call people foolish men. Yeah, if you act foolishly, you deserve to be called foolish men. So there are, Bhante, persons devoid of faith who have gone forth from the household life into homelessness. So this is Venerable Sariputta's reply. So he addressed the Buddha as Bhante. This part is a bit interesting. Yeah. Because the word Bhante, I was searching on some other words, then I chanced upon the root of the word Bhante, and it was supposed to be that Bhante is actually a kind of an evolved word. Yeah. But this venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi actually directly used the word Bhante here. Yeah, so it's a bit interesting. Yeah, maybe I will go and find out what is the original word that is used here. Because in other suttas, so far I went through all the other nikayas, never see this word being used. Usually the disciples will refer to the Buddha as the Blessed One. Yeah. So in any case, this is what Venerable Sariputta said. Yeah, there are Bhante, persons devoid of faith who have gone forth from the household life into homelessness, not out of faith, but intent on earning a living. They are crafty, hypocritical, deceptive, restless, puffed up, vain, talkative, rambling in their talk, unguarded over the doors of the senses, immoderate in eating, not intent on wakefulness, indifferent to the ascetic life, not keenly respectful of the training, luxurious and lax, leaders in backsliding, discarding the duty of solitude, lazy, devoid of energy, muddle-minded, lacking in clear comprehension, unconcentrated, with wandering minds, unwise, stupid. When I speak to them in such a way, they do not respectfully accept what I say. Yeah, see, even Venerable Sariputta say, yeah, those who are stupid. But Bhante, there are clansmen who have gone forth from the household life into homelessness out of faith, who are not crafty, hypocritical, deceptive, restless, puffed up, vain, talkative, and rambling in their talk, who keep guard over the doors of the senses, who are moderate in eating, intent on wakefulness, intent upon the ascetic life, keenly respectful of the training, who are not luxurious and lax, who discard backsliding and take the lead in solitude, who are energetic, resolute, mindful, clearly comprehending, concentrated, with one-pointed minds, wise, intelligent. When I speak to them in such a way, they respectfully accept what I say. Then the Buddha replied, Venerable Sariputta, you know what he said? Sariputta, leave alone those people who are devoid of faith and have gone forth from the household life into homelessness, not out of faith, but intent on earning a living, who are crafty, hypocritical, deceptive, restless, puffed up, vain, talkative, rambling in their talk, unguarded over the doors of the senses, immoderate in eating, not intent on wakefulness, indifferent to the ascetic life, not keenly respectful of the training, luxurious and lax, leaders in backsliding, discarding the duty of solitude, lazy, devoid of energy, mother-minded, lacking in clear comprehension, unconcentrated, with wandering minds, unwise, stupid. But, so that is the one who is going forth for the wrong reason. Yeah. So the Buddha tell Venerable Sariputta, leave alone those people. Then the second part. But Sariputta, you should speak to those clansmen who have gone forth from the household life into homelessness out of faith, who are not crafty, hypocritical, deceptive, restless, puffed up, vain, talkative, and rambling in their talk, who keep guard over the doors of the senses, who are moderate in eating, intent on wakefulness, intent upon the ascetic life, keenly respectful of the training, who are not luxurious and lax, who discard backsliding and take the lead in solitude, who are energetic, resolute, mindful, clearly comprehending, concentrated with one-pointed minds, wise, intelligent. Exhort your fellow monks, Sariputta. Instruct your fellow monks, Sariputta. Thinking. The thinking is in square bracket. I will cause my fellow monks to emerge from what is contrary to the good Dharma and will establish them in the good Dharma. Thus, Sariputta, should you train yourself. That is today's sutta. Okay. So, any questions? Yes, Alison.
Good morning, Shifu.
Good morning.
I have a question, but it's not related to his sutta.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you. It's about the factor of right effort in the Noble Path. Actually, two parts in the question. The first part is the ideal way of practicing it. Should it be 100% of our awake time? That's the first part. And the second part is if Shifu could share a couple of examples of the third function of the factor of right effort.
Okay. So, should it be 100%? Well, in the suttas, you'll notice that everything is 100%. Yeah. But individuals can only do the percentage they can do. Right? Yeah. In a way, in the Noble Eightfold Path, when the Buddha exhort the disciples, he will always encourage them to practice constantly, regularly. Yeah, like the Buddha would not be telling people, yeah, just do 2 hours of sitting and then you can rest for the rest of the day. You know, the Buddha wouldn't be telling people, yeah, for a start, just be half mindful. Don't have to be so mindful. Otherwise you suddenly attain arahanthood. How? Yeah. So simply put, as far as the sutta is concerned, it is always, especially in particular towards the monastics. Okay, towards monastics, the expectation is always just do as much as you can. Towards the lay person, then it's just telling them this is the right effort. Do as you deem fit. Yeah, because for lay people, the fact that you are in a lay state, then your direction is different. Yeah, not exactly the same. You're not doing it full time. You have many other chores, duties, responsibilities, preoccupations. Yeah. So as much as there's no stipulation inside the teachings on right effort, or for that matter, any of the other parts. Yeah, to tell you, just do 80% or do 75%. No. Yeah, but does it mean that if we don't do 100%, then we go to hell? Yeah, we shouldn't have this kind of mindset. It's always just do what you can, as much as you can. Yeah. Well, but if you fail to do 100%, don't beat yourself up with it. Yeah. It's just like meditation. You put in effort to observe the breath. Does it mean you will observe 100%? You won't. You try. Yeah. Initially you try, but sometimes your mind drift away. Sometimes your thoughts about other things is so interesting. Yeah. So you fail to observe the breath. Or sometimes you are not even thinking about other things, but you just somehow don't know what happens. Then how? I go to them, I failed. Since I have failed, waste of time for this life. I'll come back next life and try again. Yeah, and I mean, let's say you do that, then since you're going to try again next life, then might as well just try again now. Or are you going to say, I have failed. I'll never ever try again. I'll never ever meditate again since I failed on my first try. So don't have to be 100% or 0, okay? Hang on. Xiao Fang commented, good morning, Shifu and everyone. Does it mean that when the listener is not ready, there's no point to say anything but leave them alone? There's a distinction. Let me just address this because this is directly linked to the text. There's a difference between if the person is not ready versus the person is having all those qualities, those various qualities. If a person having those various qualities, it's not that the person is not ready, the person is just not interested. No? Yeah, so it's about the degree or the degree. Yeah. So if the person is simply just can't be bothered, not interested, then okay, it's okay. 不要强人所难. Don't force people to do what they don't want to do. Yeah, because indeed in Buddhism, yeah, Buddhism is a very free religion. We don't force people to do things. Yeah, no, we don't force people to do things. Edward's second part, the third factor. So the first part is so the right effort. There are 4 parts, right? Split into 2, unwholesome and wholesome states, right? So for both of them, arisen and non-arisen, right? Are you referring to the same text? Same, yeah. So for those that is unwholesome, arisen, unwholesome states, to put in effort to reduce and remove it. For those that is unarisen, unwholesome states, to put in effort for it not to arise. For wholesome states that has not arisen, to put in effort for it to arise. And then the arisen wholesome states, to put in effort so that it can blossom and grow. Yeah. So your question is, so what is the purpose? Or what was?
Yeah, just if you could share a couple examples of how to do the third.
How to do the third.
Yes.
Okay. So for example, if you observe that, okay, now you are not lazy, but you are not energetic about the practice. Yeah. So then you put in effort to be energetic. Or let's say now you don't have doubts, you don't really have clear doubts about the teachings, but you don't have much strong faith about the teachings. So you would spend time to try to go and maybe consult your peers, or go and consult Sifu. Maybe not this Sifu, other Sifu, can be any Sifu. Yeah. Or you go and listen to the teachings from them, and so that it can arouse faith in you. Yeah. Or you go and read about the practices by the various masters, and you may get inspired and arise faith. Or you may go and reflect and read about the fruits, yeah, of the practice, and it may cause us to have faith in the practice, and so on and so forth. So these are a few examples. So basically, it starts off with what are the qualities you observe to not be present. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Shifu.
Shifu, I have a question.
Okay. Yeah.
This related to meditation. Last week we talked about contemplative meditation. So you spoke about object, scope, and method.
Right.
Are you able to elaborate a bit on, like, can we contemplate on something like anger, or any examples of how that works, or where we can read more about it?
Okay. So yes, there are different approaches to doing contemplation as well. A typical one that I would share is like you contemplate on the 5 aggregates, yeah, collectively known as body and mind. So then you apply the teachings in terms of, let's say, the 3 characteristics, anicca, dukkha, anatta. So you contemplate on, first, what are the 5 aggregates? Form, feelings, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Then you drill in what is form, 根身器界, the physical body with all the senses, sense base, and then the external world that is the vessel for all sentient beings. Then you can drill in a bit more. What are the senses? Eye, ears, nose, tongue, body. Yeah, in terms of the physicality. Yeah. Then you can drill in further. What are the bodily parts? Yeah. Head, hair, body hair, nail, teeth, skin, flesh, sinew, bone, marrow, kidney, heart, liver, and so on. Then you can also further break down and say, whatever physicality it is, it depends on the 4 elements. Yeah, so this is one way to, first of all, have an outline, then drill in. Then after that, depending on which layer you want to further examine, then you consider physicality is said to be impermanent. Yeah, then you consider, is it impermanent? Yeah, then you can contemplate on it. Yeah, so what is the feature of impermanence? Yeah, that at some point it doesn't exist, then it exists. Then even as it exists, over time it changes. Yeah, so you then consider this hair of mine. Yeah, does it exist all the time? No, before I was born, it doesn't exist. Yeah, at some point in time I die, it will not exist. But even as I exist while I'm alive, this hair, does it change? Yes, it changed. Yeah, so in this way you can contemplate and see that it is indeed impermanent. Yeah, so the granularity is up to you to adjust. Yeah, because if, as you can see, just the body you can go through into minute details. So it is sometimes useful if a person is particularly preoccupied with the body. Yeah, like let's say a person, not just girls, but let's say a guy, wow, crazy about the hair, wow, whole day comb here, comb there, comb here, wow. Then maybe reflect on the hair. Yeah, how it's impermanent, it's subject to change, subject to suffering, is no self. Yeah, due to conditions it changes, not due to our whims and fancy. Yeah, so that's one way. So this is about contemplation of the truth with respect to the body and mind, the 5 aggregates. So what you mentioned, the example you asked is, let's say, contemplation of anger, right? Yeah. So usually when we think about when we think about something that is that triggers our anger, it's not contemplation. We will think about the incident or the person who caused us to be angry. And then we will think about how it's unjustified, how that person has done you wrong, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So throughout the whole process, nothing to do with Dharma. Yeah. So, but now when we contemplate on the anger, how is it then using the Dharma? So we can still revisit the scenario, but now in this case, to consider what are the circumstances that led to the anger arising. Yeah. So in much the same way as we use laksa, the tastiness of laksa, to do the contemplation, you ask yourself, okay, don't try to give model answer first. Just ask yourself, what are the factors that led to anger? Then our natural conclusion is the same. That person, yeah. So that person must have said something, did something, or didn't do something, or didn't say something. Then we are angry. Yeah. Generally speaking, it's just this four permutation, you know. Yeah. So then you ask yourself, if you change certain things, yeah. So this is about swapping the factors, yeah, swapping the conditions to see whether it is closely tied to this person or not. Yeah. So then we say, if it's another person who did the same thing, then will we still be angry? Yeah. Oh, so maybe yes, maybe no. Yeah. Maybe yes, maybe no. So if it's yes, then we ask ourselves, if it's yes, then it's nothing to do with this person. Anyone who did this, do this, will be angry. If it's no, then this matter itself is not a problem. You know, if somebody else do it, then we are not angry. Then it's nothing to do with this thing. You understand what I mean? Someone said something to us, then we get angry. But if somebody else said we're not angry, then nothing to do with what is being said, right? Yeah. Or or if we didn't hear clearly, will we be angry? We will not be angry also. So the fact that it said itself, that itself is insufficient to cause anger. Yeah. And then we can also, in terms of do a longitudinal uh, uh, reflection. Yeah. Will I still be angry about this 1 day later? Will I still be angry about this 3 days later, 5 days later, 3 weeks later, 1 month later, 6 months later, 1 year later, 10 years later? Yeah. Will I still be angry? Of course, if you say 100 years later, we are dead. But that is also a helpful reflection. 100 years later, will this still matter? Then you realize that it is only important because we are stuck at this moment. Yeah. So this is one way to reflect on anger. Another way is to reflect. So without saying that, without even tearing down the incident to see whether it is right or wrong, which is our usual approach. Our usual approach is always about, digging into the matter, who is right, who is wrong. But you notice this, up to this point, never thought about who is right and who is wrong. Doesn't matter. And then you can further contemplate. So let's assume the person is really responsible for making me angry. Yeah. Then you contemplate, which part of me is angry? Is it the ear? Since the ear is the one responsible for hearing, is the ear angry? So you ask the ear, are you angry? Yeah. So then you consider, no, it's not the ear. It's the mind. So where's the mind? Where is the mind? Yeah. Then you ask yourself, if you don't think about the matter anymore, are you still angry? If not, then what happened to the anger? Where did it go? Yeah. Yeah. And at that moment, when when the thing happened, when the incident happened, you're angry. So is that mind, that particular mind that got angry, still around? If not for the fact that we think about it, and once we think about it, the anger, the angry mind, is it the same angry mind as that angry mind? Is it the same? It's actually not the same, isn't it? Yeah, because in between a lot of things happen. So what happened to the angry mind? When did it go to? Which, so then, so this leads to the appreciation of no self. Then there's no you, strictly speaking, that you can identify to point out this is the thing, the one that is angry. So this is using non-self or impermanence on ourselves with respect to anger. Then you can also use the same contemplation on the other person. So that person made me angry. Yeah, I'm angry with that person. So who are you angry with? Is it the body you're angry with? Is it the mind you're angry with? Is it a form, feelings, perception, mental formation, or consciousness you're angry with? Or is it a collective whole? Yeah. If we say that we're angry with that particular mind and body that scolded us or that did us wrong, then in a way we can say it's justified. But the next moment, is it still the same? Yeah. Yeah. If it's not the same, then we are getting angry with the wrong person. We're getting angry with a new set of mind and body. The mind and body that got us upset is already gone. Right? Yeah. Now it becomes more apparent when the time is a bit further. Yeah, when it's a bit longer. You know, sometimes we are angry with a person for a while, sometimes a few days, a few weeks, you know, and then finally we master our courage and we cannot stand it anymore. We go and confront the person, and then we ask the person, why did you do that day? Then the person, do what? They say, you still want to act that day? You know that day? What happened that day? Which day? Oh, then you get even more. So you know that day, that Monday, I take a long time to take a screenshot. Then you point out. Huh? Which day? You know, 3 years ago. So, oh, that day. then yeah. Why do you do that? But well, I just point out what something. Then the person, you know how hurt I was. Oh, okay. Then how? The best thing is, have you ever encountered where you point out what the person has done or something, and the person is like, and then you're like, you have come up with all the scenarios, and you think the reason for the person to do something or say something or didn't do something or didn't say something is a particular reason. And then when you ask her, why do you do that? Then the person give a totally different reason. You know? And then I'm like, no, how can it be? It must be like that. So sometimes this is the problem, you know. Yeah, that even when we ask the person tell us, no, that's not the reason. We cannot accept. Yeah. Or when you ask the person forgot about it, they cannot remember. So because it has been so long. So it's a totally different person. Yeah. Or the person realized, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. So it's a different person because disagree with that action, right? But sometimes, you know, when we go and confront people, right, we actually don't want them to say sorry, you know. You all realize that when you confront someone, you need the person to at least argue with you for a bit, to have a bit of a kick. Yeah. Because when your person argue, then you get a chance to prove the person wrong, to point out the person being wrong. You get to point out. But if when the moment you bring it out, right, the person, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Then it's like, I prepared one whole bag of hand grenade and one whole bag of machine gun to shoot at you. Then you just say, oh yeah, I realized that, I'm so sorry. Then I cannot use all this. Huh? Anger does that to us, no? Yeah, so we end up spending our time and resource and everything preparing for a fight that don't exist. Oh, so there are many different ways to contemplate. Yeah, I will just point out one last approach, which is what is oftentimes mentioned by many venerables and also in the sutta, that to overcome, so just now was about using the teachings to analyze anger, to contemplate on anger. So this one is not to contemplate on anger, but to diffuse anger, yeah, to overcome anger. And it's basically the practice of loving kindness. Yeah. So, but I must just highlight that the practice of loving kindness must come before anger arises. Yeah. Of course, even if you don't practice loving kindness, when anger arises, try it. But in all likelihood, if you don't do prior practice, it's difficult to arouse loving kindness because they are opposing states. So if you're not familiar with having loving kindness or kindness, when anger arises, your attempt to have loving kindness will be drawn by your anger. Yeah. But still, good effort. Yeah. So last thing is to simply counter by developing loving kindness. Okay. Ken?
Thank you, Shifu.
Amitabha. All right. And with that, we wrap up for today. See, missing now. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
Till we meet again, may be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And as always,
乖乖。
have a blueless Monday ahead.
Thank you, Sifu.
All right, take care, stay safe.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Shifu.
拜拜。
Bye.
Thank you, Sifu. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, Lama.
Bye bye.